Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. If you're just tuning in, you're going to want to go to nowmedia.tv, click on shows, and catch the first half of today's show. It has been absolutely epic. And now we're going to tie in that first half with our AI moment of the week. And I'm going to ask Douglas Burns, who's here with me, commercial photographer. You've been so great so far.
Well, thank you.
But I'm going to ask you about AI in photography, because a lot of people are leveraging these AI images. It's all over the place. We're seeing these ads for AI headshots. Do a selfie and we'll convert it for you. When and where is there a use for AI in photography?
Well, it's not going away. I mean, AI is here, right? I mean, and it's been here for probably longer than we'd like to think about, but it's here. It's part of our world. We have to embrace it. Look, I utilize AI currently in my business practices. I use it in my office. I utilize the tools to help me create my own marketing materials. I'm using AI tools in my post-production because it speeds things up. It makes my life easier as an artist, but it's knowing how and when and where to use it. If you're trying to develop the image itself, are you going to choose between an AI image or a photographic-based image? I would ask, is there a reason to illustrate? I think illustrations are a wonderful medium, and there's some wonderful some artists out there who do illustrative art. At least that I have seen, AI is not yet where it's a repeatable process in developing images. So if you're wanting something to be able to repeat a style, repeat an image, go back and re-edit in layers, say. I don't know that the tools are there yet. They'll probably be there before too long, but they're not there at current. I don't think that they're there yet. But if you're needing to illustrate something, maybe it's a time to work with an illustrator or an artist to create that. But the question is, do you need to show authenticity, or do you need to show a rendering? Mm-hmm. If you need something to show that's something very authentic in actuality, that's real. That's when you want to use a photographer. That's when you want to use actual photography, working with lenses and lights and the traditional photographic mm-hmm. mediums. Whether that's digital or film-based, it becomes an artistic decision at that point. But if you're trying to showcase something that maybe is harder to photograph, you're working with renderings. Architects have been using renderings for years and using artists to draw out the renderings of their artistic, what the building should look like when it's all said and done. You know, if you're proposing something that hasn't been built yet, that's a great time to use an artist or an illustrator to utilize that. But as far as the AI question is, it's here. It's where are you using it in your business? Where are you using it in the creation of stuff? Like I said, I'm using it now. But it's part of my workflow. It's not what I'm selling.
Mm-hmm. And you know, that's something that's so incredibly important, and we talk about this all the time. It's not going away, folks. If we're not leveraging the tool, the people who are leveraging the tool are going to be able to do things faster, more effective, more efficient. They're going to be able to do more volume than us with the same amount of hours. And so it really is a competitive advantage if you're leveraging the tool, but know when to use it and know when to use an artificial intelligence image as opposed to an authentic image. I know one of the things that we talked about in the break, I can't stand when I'm looking and I've known somebody online and I go to meet them and I don't recognize them because they're either highly filtered or the image is 40 years old, or you know, or it's been AI and it doesn't even look like the person, and so it puts me at a disadvantage, and I feel automatically a lack of trust. So I really appreciate that, and I'm going to ask you, because we talked about this too, what are the biggest visual branding mistakes that you see businesses making with their photography, and how can they fix them?
I think one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen is choosing the wrong photographer. And it's not to say that they're necessarily a bad photographer. I mean, there's photographers at all levels depending on your budget. But the biggest mistake is choosing the wrong photographer for your brand. If you've got a highly polished brand and you're trying to showcase somebody who at a very corporate or powerful level, the last thing you want to do is choose a photographer whose entire portfolio is lifestyle and light and airy and highlights that are overblown and no information in the shadows. You know, there's a disconnect mm-hmm. If you're working on that. So making sure that you're working with the right photographer, or a photographer that can match your current brand, because a lot of professional photographers can match looks and feels and whatnot. But I'm the first to tell you, look, if you're looking for light and airy,
You're not it.
I'm not it. That's not me. It's not what I want to produce. I've got my own personal feelings about that style of photography. But you know, finding someone that's on brand, I think or I should, let me rephrase it. Finding someone who's not on brand with your company, with your products or services, that's a huge mistake in working with a professional photographer.
I couldn't agree more. And we talk about this all the time, folks. We talk about who do we partner with in business. Well, this applies to your photographer, your videographer, anybody who's doing any of your visual branding and your marketing. If they're not on brand for you, then it's a mistake. It doesn't matter what the price point is. If they're not on brand for you, it's gonna create that confusion, and confused minds don't buy. We talk about that all the time. Confused minds don't buy. So Douglas, we've talked about a lot of things today. We've talked about what is brand photography, what do we need, why do we not just need a headshot, what are some of the other types of photography, and how to go about strategically thinking about our brand image and the story that we're telling. Is there anything else that you really want our audience to know, or do you have something that they could immediately take action on today that can move them forward with their image?
I would say that if you're looking for an action item, the first thing I would do is look at your website, look at your About Us section. If your C-suite should be on your website, you know, the personalities behind the company. If you want to go beyond that, your senior executive level, or even your whole team. Say you're a mid-sized company and you want your whole team on the website. But take a look at those images. Make sure those images are consistent across the board, that you don't have someone's vacation selfie as their headshot. I've seen that, guys. Don't do that. Making sure that there's consistency across the board that's on brand for you and your company. That's the action item number one. Number two is take a look and take a step back and think about who you're trying to talk to, who you're trying to communicate with, what story do you want them to know about you, your product, your company, your service, and work with your photographer, work with your marketing department, working with your brand team to develop a story and storyboard what that looks like, so that you can start crafting images, crafting videos, crafting photography, crafting illustrations, whatever that may look like for you and your company, so that you can communicate that effectively and ultimately grow your business.
You know, what I heard is take a look. It's time to take a hard look. If your stuff is 4, 5, 6 years old, it is time to update some of that, because guess what? Things have happened since then. We went through a whole pandemic in the last 5 years, so a lot has changed. So if your brand photography is a little aged, it's time to look at that. It's time to have a look and understand what it is that you want people to feel. What is the journey that you want to take your prospects and your clients on, and document that visually, because that storytelling is so powerful, and a picture is worth so many words. And as we said at the beginning, lots of customers as well. Thank you so much for all of your expertise today. It has been really valuable. We've covered quite a lot. How can people reach out to you if they would like to learn more about maybe working with you or your book or some of the things that we talked about? Sure.
So the book's available on Amazon. Face value, How to Professional Headshots Can Supercharge Your Business. It's a quick, easy order, available either on the digital format or as a real hard copy book. As far as reaching out to me, my website's DNB. It's there you go, dnbproductions.com, and I'm eminently reachable there on the website, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, whether we work together or not. Just ask me a question. I'll respond to all my emails. I respond to text messages.
You know, it's been really excellent speaking with you today, because we didn't just get behind the scenes. We got between the ears with you. So let's see that camera, and what is it that we see when we work with you?
Oh, the camera. This is actually, so this is my new toy. I just got it this year. But look, it's not the camera that takes the picture. I tell this is my biggest pet peeve. It's a big camera, it must take great pictures. Well, the camera serves my purpose as a photographer. But what takes the picture here again is that gray matter in between our ears and behind our eyeballs. That's where the photography takes place. So whether you utilize a big camera like this, or you're utilizing a cell phone, or an old style point and shoot, which is extremely convenient to carry, it's a tool to craft an image. Learn to use the tool that you have, or work with somebody who really, like myself, who geeks out over this stuff, but just recognize that this is a tool. This is where the photography happens, and that's what we need to work on.
Thank you so much. And so as we craft this story, folks, unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, including the show. But I want to thank you once again for being here.
My pleasure.
And you, yes, you, today is the day that we take action. You know this. You've heard this every single week. If you've been following me for a while, for years now. And this is just another show that you watch if you don't take action. Today's the day to take action. Douglas gave us excellent action steps. Have a review of your brand photography. What are the images that are out there? Are they cohesive? Do they tell the story that you want them to tell? And are they communicating with your ideal client? If not, it's time to either reach out to Douglas or your photographer of choice and make something happen there today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today, because the magic happens when we take action and we move forward. So without further ado, I know you can't believe we're coming to an end, but we are. But we'll be here same time, same station next week. Until then, go win today, win this week, and I'll see you next time.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.